The bell rings at Lincoln High School, and 500 students flood the hallways like a tsunami. They rush past lockers, slam doors, and scream conversations that echo off the fluorescent lights. Nobody notices the man in the gray uniform standing by the front gate. His name is Daniel Hayes, and he has been invisible for exactly 3 years, 11 months, and 16 days. He knows the exact count because he marks it on a calendar hidden in his small apartment. Nobody would ever think to ask him why. Please, if you enjoy watching my videos, subscribe, like, and comment where you're watching from. Thank you guys. Daniel watches the students pour through the gates like he's watching a nature documentary. He sees the hierarchy, the rich kids with their designer backpacks and confident walks, the middle ground students trying to navigate the invisible social ladder, and at the very bottom, the ones everyone tries to ignore. His job is simple. Check IDs, make sure nobody sneaks out, and keep the peace. Mostly he keeps the peace by staying silent. His supervisor once told him, "Danny, the best security guard is the one nobody remembers." Daniel had nodded and gone back to his post. That was 2 years ago. The school itself is falling apart. The paint peels from the walls like the skin of something dying. The library lost funding 3 years ago. The sports program was cut. The cafeteria serves food that tastes like cardboard and regret. But the administration doesn't seem worried. They have the wealthy families, and wealthy families mean donations. And donations mean survival. The principal, a man named Richard Morrison, spends more time schmoozing the parents of rich kids than he does running the school. Daniel has watched this pattern from his post by the gate. He watches everything. He forgets nothing. Every day at exactly 3:47 p.m., a girl walks past him with books clutched to her chest like they're the only things keeping her together. Her name is Mia Chin, and she is 17 years old. She has black hair that falls in a straight line past her shoulders, and she wears the same gray hoodie 3 days a week. Daniel knows this because he has watched her arrive and leave school for the past 8 months. What makes Mia different from everyone else is that she always says hello. Not a mumble. Not a nod. An actual greeting. "Hi, Mr. Hayes," she says, and she smiles like she means it. Daniel has not heard kindness directed at him in so long that the first time she said it, he thought there was something wrong with his hearing. Mia is bullied. Daniel knows this because he sees the way other students look at her, like she is beneath them. He sees the way they whisper when she walks past. He watches the way her shoulders curl inward like she is trying to make herself smaller. But what breaks something inside Daniel is the way she never fights back. She never snaps at them. She never reports them. She just absorbs it the way the earth absorbs rain and keeps moving. There is something achingly familiar about this. Something that makes his chest tighten in a way he hasn't felt in years. The leader of Mia's tormentors is a girl named Chloe Hartwell. Chloe is 16, tall, blonde, and rich in the way that makes people move out of her path without her asking. Her father is a major donor to the school. He owns a chain of luxury hotels and has connections that reach far into the city's financial world. Chloe carries herself like she owns the school. Maybe she does, at least her family does. Daniel has watched Chloe mock Mia in the hallways, watched her knock books out of Mia's hands, watched her post cruel comments on social media where everyone can see. And he has watched the school do absolutely nothing about it. The principal once told Daniel not to interfere. "These are wealthy families," he had said, his voice low and apologetic. "If we upset them, we lose funding. And if we lose funding, the school closes. Do you understand?" Daniel had understood perfectly. The message was clear. Some students matter more than others. Some students are worth protecting. Others are not. Daniel had nodded and said nothing, but something had shifted inside him that day. Something old and painful had woken up. One Thursday afternoon, Daniel is standing by the front entrance when he sees Mia approach. She looks different today. Her hair is messy. Her eyes are red. She has been crying, and she is trying very hard not to let it show. Daniel watches her come through the gate, and for the first time in 3 years he steps forward. "Mia," he says quietly. She looks up startled. Are you okay? She smiles, that same warm, genuine smile, and says, Yeah, Mr. Hayes. Just a bad day. Then she walks past him into the school. Daniel stands there for a long moment watching her disappear into the crowd. Something in his chest clenches. He knows what a bad day looks like. He has had many of them. Later that same day, Daniel notices Mia in the cafeteria. She is sitting alone at a table as always. She has a water bottle and nothing else. No lunch. No snacks. Nothing. Daniel watches her sit there for 20 minutes, pretending to read her textbook while her stomach probably screams at her. He sees a group of girls walk past her table and snicker. One of them, not Chloe but one of her followers, whispers something loud enough for Mia to hear. Mia's jaw tightens but she says nothing. She just stares at her textbook harder. Daniel's shift doesn't officially cover the cafeteria, but he walks through it anyway. He sits down across from Mia with his lunch. A simple sandwich, an apple and some crackers that he packed that morning. Mia looks up confused. Mr. Hayes, she says. I thought I'd eat here today, he says simply. You don't mind if I sit here, do you? Mia's eyes widen slightly and then she smiles. This time it is different. This time it is real. Of course not, she says. I'd like that. So Daniel sits with her and they eat lunch together in silence. It is not much. But it is something. And for Mia, who has been eating alone for months, it is everything. From that day forward something shifts. Daniel begins to take notice of things he had been choosing to ignore. He starts documenting the bullying. He photographs the graffiti in the bathroom stalls, cruel messages directed at Mia and a few other students. He records conversations he overhears. He notes the times and dates of incidents. He does this quietly, methodically, the way someone takes inventory of a crime scene. Because that is what this is. A crime scene. A place where cruelty is allowed to flourish because nobody with power cares enough to stop it. One afternoon, Daniel receives a call from the principal's office. He is told to come immediately. When he arrives, he finds the principal sitting behind his desk, looking uncomfortable. Daniel, he says, we've received a complaint. From the Hartwells. They say you've been spending an unusual amount of time in the cafeteria. Daniel says nothing. The principal continues, they're concerned about your attention to detail. They feel you might be overstepping your role. The message is clear again, back off. The Hartwells matter. Mia does not. Understood, Daniel says and he turns to leave. But as he reaches the door he pauses. Sir, he says, do you remember why you became an educator? The principal doesn't answer. Daniel leaves. Act 2, The Breaking Point. It happens on a Tuesday in October. The leaves are turning red and gold, and there is a chill in the air that smells like the end of something. Mia is walking through the parking lot after school heading toward the bus stop. She is alone. The parking lot is vast and mostly empty at this time of day. The buses are still lined up but most students have left. She is thinking about the chemistry test she bombed that afternoon, wondering if her grades will ever recover, wondering if anything will ever get better. She doesn't hear them approach until it's too late. There are 4 of them. 3 followers and 1 leader. The leader is not Chloe, but Chloe is standing against a car about 20 feet away watching. This is important. She is watching. Mia's heart begins to race. The leader steps toward her. Hey Mia, she says. Her name is Ashley and she has been mean to Mia since 9th grade. We want to talk to you about something. Mia knows this is not true. Nothing good ever comes from this situation. She takes a step backward. I need to catch my bus, she says quietly. The bus can wait, Ashley says. She moves closer. The other 3 girls form a half circle, blocking Mia's path to the buses. Mia's breathing becomes shallow. She looks around. There is nobody else in the parking lot. The few teachers who are still here are inside the building. The security cameras are old and don't even record anymore. The school cut that funding 2 years ago. Mia is alone. Look at what you're wearing, Ashley says, pointing at Mia's dress. It is a simple black dress that Mia's mother gave her. You think you're better than us or something? You think you're pretty? The other girls laugh. It is a sound like breaking glass. What happens next occurs in the space between one heartbeat and the next. Ashley shoves Mia. Hard. Mia stumbles backward and catches herself against a car. Ashley steps forward and her fist is raised. This is it. This is the moment where everything gets worse. Mia closes her eyes. She thinks about her mother at home working double shifts at the hospital to pay rent. She thinks about how she will explain a black eye. She thinks about how alone she is. And then she hears a voice. That's enough. The voice is calm. It is quiet. But it cuts through the parking lot like a blade. All four girls freeze. They turn. Daniel is standing there about 15 feet away, wearing his gray uniform and his calm expression. He is looking directly at Ashley. Step away from her, he says. His voice doesn't change. It is the same tone he uses when he is asking someone for their ID. But something in his eyes is different. Something has changed. Ashley laughs nervously. This isn't your business, guard, she says. We're just talking. Step away, Daniel repeats. He takes one step forward. Just one. But it is enough. Ashley and her friends scatter like they have been burned. They run toward the school building, throwing insults over their shoulders that nobody will remember in 10 seconds. Chloe, who has been watching the entire time, turns and walks away with her head high. She is not afraid. She is angry. That anger is worse than fear. Daniel turns to Mia. Are you hurt? He asks. Mia is shaking. Not from fear anymore but from shock. She shakes her head. I'm okay, she whispers. Daniel looks at her for a long moment. Come on, he says. Let's get you home. He walks with her to the bus stop. They don't speak. There is nothing to say. But Mia understands something in that silence. Somebody is watching out for her. For the first time in a long time she is not completely alone. The next day Mia receives a letter at home. It is from the school. It informs her parents that there has been a complaint filed against Daniel Hayes for inappropriate intervention in a situation involving students. The complaint comes from the Hartwell family. They are demanding his immediate removal. Mia's mother reads the letter and her face goes pale. She calls the school. She speaks to the principal. He asks what happened. The principal explains in careful language that there was an incident that a student was pushed that Daniel stepped in. He does not mention that without Daniel, Mia might have been seriously hurt. He does not mention that he knew about the bullying and did nothing. That evening, Mia walks to Daniel's small apartment. She knows where he lives because she saw his address once on a clipboard in the school office. She doesn't think about this decision. He just does it. She knocks on his door. When Daniel opens it, he looks shocked. He is still in his work clothes. Behind him she can see a small living room with barely any furniture. There are books everywhere. Stacks of them. And on the walls there are photographs. Photographs of the school. Photographs of her. Mia, he says, and his voice carries a weight of concern. What are you doing here? I'm sorry, she says, and tears begin to fall from her eyes. This is my fault. The complaint, all of it. They're going to fire you because of me. Daniel steps aside. Come inside, he says. Mia enters the apartment. It is cold and sparse, like it belongs to someone who is not planning to stay long. This is not your fault, Daniel says firmly. You did nothing wrong. Do you understand me? None of this is your fault. But Mia can feel it coming. She can sense that things are about to change. Daniel's calm is beginning to crack. There is something underneath it. Something patient and controlled, but something that has limits. She has reached those limits. The following week, the school holds an emergency assembly. The entire student body is packed into the gymnasium. The principal stands on the stage looking nervous. He announces that there will be new security protocols. He thanks Daniel Hayes for his service. He does not say that Daniel is being fired. but everyone understands that is what this means. Daniel stands in the back of the gymnasium in his gray uniform and he says nothing. His face is unreadable. But his hands are clenched into fists. Chloe Hartwell sits in the bleachers, surrounded by her friends. She is smiling. She is wearing a designer jacket that costs more than Daniel's monthly rent. She is texting on her phone. She is not paying attention to the assembly. She is not worried about the consequences. Why would she be? Her father has already solved the problem. The problem, Daniel Hayes, is being removed. But then something happens that nobody expects. A commotion starts at the back of the gymnasium. The doors open and people begin to file in. Men in expensive suits. Women in tailored blazers. They are carrying briefcases and wearing expressions of authority. The principal stops speaking mid-sentence. The assembly goes quiet. Everyone turns to look. The lead executive steps forward and approaches the stage. He shakes the principal's hand, though the principal looks terrified. Then he takes the microphone. "Hello," he says, his voice amplified through the gymnasium. "My name is Marcus Webb and I am the head of strategic acquisitions for Hayes Investment Group. We are here to make an announcement regarding this school." The students whisper to each other. Hayes Investment Group. Nobody has heard of them. The principal is sweating. He glances at Daniel, who is still standing in the back, completely expressionless. "This school has been selected for a major acquisition," Marcus continues. "Hayes Investment Group is investing $5 million into this facility. This funding will be used to repair the infrastructure, expand the library, restore the sports programs, and most importantly, implement a comprehensive anti-bullying policy and protocol." The gymnasium erupts in excited chatter. $5 million. It is unimaginable. But then Marcus says something that changes everything. "Our founder and CEO wanted to be present for this announcement. He wanted to see this school transform with his own eyes. He is here today." Marcus pauses. "Daniel Hayes, would you please come forward?" The gymnasium falls silent. All eyes turn to the back of the room where Daniel is standing. He removes his cap. His gray uniform suddenly looks like a costume, something he has been wearing in a play that is now ending. He walks forward slowly, deliberately. Every step is measured. Every step is a choice. He reaches the stage. Marcus shakes his hand and steps aside. Daniel takes the microphone. The gymnasium is so quiet that you can hear the fluorescent lights humming. 500 students are staring at him. Teachers are staring. Parents in the back are staring. "My name is Daniel Hayes," he says, his voice calm and controlled. 3 years ago I came to this school as a security guard. I did not come here to work minimum wage. I came here because my daughter attended this school 15 years ago. She was bullied." He pauses. Nobody helped her. The school knew about it, but nobody cared enough to do anything. She transferred schools in the middle of her junior year. She never recovered from the trauma. She struggled with depression. She struggled with trust. She struggled to believe that the world contained any kindness at all. The gymnasium is completely silent now. Even the students understand that they are witnessing something important. "So I came back," Daniel continues. "I came back as a security guard because I needed to see if anything had changed. I needed to know if this school had learned anything." He looks out at the sea of faces. It hasn't. The bullying is worse. The administration turns a blind eye. And the students who suffer are made to feel like it is their fault. That ends today. He looks directly at Chloe Hartwell. She is standing now, her face pale. Behind her, her mother, who has arrived at the gymnasium, is pulling out her phone. But it is too late. Everything is already happening. "Effective immediately," Daniel says, "there will be zero tolerance for bullying. Any student found to be engaging in harassment, intimidation, or physical violence will be suspended. Any administrator found to be aware of bullying and choosing to ignore it will be terminated. This is not negotiable. This is not optional. This is the price of my investment." The principal is frozen. He understands that he is about to lose his job. The Hartwell family is frozen. They understand that their influence no longer matters. And Mia, sitting in the middle of the bleachers, is crying. But these are different tears. These are tears of disbelief, of hope, of witnessing something that seemed impossible. Daniel steps down from the stage. He walks directly to where Mia is sitting. The crowds part without being asked. He stands in front of her. "You showed me kindness when you had nothing," he says quietly. "You treated me like I was human when the rest of this school treated me like I was invisible. That matters. That will always matter." He hands her an envelope. "This is a full scholarship. Not just for college. For anywhere you want to go. Any school. Any program. It is already arranged. All you have to do is sign it." Mia takes the envelope with shaking hands. She cannot speak. She cannot breathe. The weeks that follow are chaotic. The principal is fired. 3 teachers who were complicit in ignoring bullying are removed. The Hartwell family's complaints are ignored because the person they were complaining to no longer has any power over them. Hayes Investment Group begins the massive renovation of the school. The library is rebuilt. New computers are installed in every classroom. The sports programs are restored. Scholarships are created for students who cannot afford to attend quality schools. But the most significant change is invisible. It is the shift in culture. When students realize that bullying will no longer be tolerated, that administrators will actually enforce rules equally, that the powerful families no longer have unlimited influence, everything changes. Chloe Hartwell's friends distance themselves from her. She becomes the pariah. Some students feel vindicated. Others feel scared. All of them understand that the rules have changed forever. Mia's life transforms. She no longer eats lunch alone. She no longer walks the hallways with her shoulders hunched. She becomes visible. Not because she changed, but because the environment finally allowed her to be seen. She studies harder. Her grades improve. He begins to make friends. Real friends. Not people who pity her or people who use her. People who actually like her. Daniel appears at the school less frequently now. The uniform is gone. He wears expensive suits and meets with architects about the renovation. He speaks with the new principal, a woman named Dr. Sarachin who actually cares about every student, not just the wealthy ones. He reviews policies. He ensures that his vision for the school is being implemented correctly. But every Friday at exactly 3:47 p.m. he walks by the front gate. And every Friday Mia walks past him and she smiles. And Daniel smiles back. One Friday in late November, Mia stops by his side instead of walking past. "I got my acceptance letter," she says. "To Stanford. Full ride scholarship because of you." Daniel's expression doesn't change, but something shifts in his eyes. "No," he says. "Because of you. I simply removed the obstacles." Mia reaches out and touches his arm, a gesture of gratitude that carries weight. "Thank you," she whispers, "for seeing me." Daniel looks at her for a long moment. There is something in his face that she hasn't seen before. Something tender and broken and healing all at once. "Your mother would be proud," he says quietly. The words seem strange. He has never mentioned anyone's mother before. Mia doesn't ask what he means. She understands somehow that he is talking about his own daughter. That by helping Mia he has somehow helped heal something inside himself. It is now December, the last week of school before winter break. The gymnasium is decorated with holiday lights and wreaths. The school is holding its winter assembly, and for the first time in years, it feels like an actual celebration rather than a mandatory event. Students are smiling. Teachers are smiling. The bullies have either left the school or learned to behave. The atmosphere has shifted from toxic to hopeful. Daniel arrives in the last row of the gymnasium. He is dressed in his gray uniform again. This choice surprises everyone who sees it. The suit is gone. The role of billionaire investor is gone. For this moment he has chosen to be what he was, the quiet security guard who nobody noticed. The assembly begins. Awards are given out. Achievements are celebrated. And then the principal calls everyone's attention to a special announcement. "We have a student here," Dr. Chen says, "who has undergone an extraordinary transformation this year. This student has gone from struggling academically and socially to becoming our highest academic achiever and a beacon of kindness to her peers. Mia Chen, would you please come forward?" Mia walks to the stage. She is nervous, but she is smiling. The entire school applauds. Her classmates stand and cheer. She has earned this. She has earned every bit of recognition. Mia's story, Dr. Chen says, is a reminder that every single person in this school matters. That kindness matters. That standing up for what is right matters. And that sometimes, the people who change our lives are the ones we walk past every day without truly seeing them. As Dr. Chen speaks these words, she looks directly at Daniel. And Daniel looks back. In that moment, 100 things are understood without words. 100 moments of watching. 100 decisions made in silence. 100 choices to be the invisible guardian instead of the celebrated hero. The assembly ends. Students pour out of the gymnasium. But Daniel remains in the back row watching them leave. Mia turns once at the doorway and looks back at him. She raises her hand in a small wave. Daniel raises his hand in return. It is the same wave they have exchanged every day for the past few months. But this time it feels different. This time it feels like goodbye. But then something unexpected happens. One of the maintenance workers discovers something in the school's old security system. A hidden camera that was installed before the school cut the funding. It is still working. It is still recording. And it has recorded everything. The bullying, the assaults, the administration ignoring complaints, the wealthy families using their influence to silence victims. Someone leaks the footage. It goes viral on social media. Within hours, the video has been viewed by thousands of people. Parents begin calling the school with complaints. The local news picks up the story. Headlines read, "Exclusive. School covers up years of bullying." The Hartwell family's lawyers begin preparing lawsuits. The school board begins an investigation. But the footage also shows something else. It shows Daniel stepping in to help students. It shows him breaking up fights, protecting vulnerable kids, and doing his job with integrity. The narrative shifts. Daniel Hayes is no longer a mysterious figure. He's a hero. News outlets begin digging into his background. They discover that he is indeed a billionaire. They discover his daughter. They find out about her struggles. The story becomes perfect for media consumption. Billionaire's daughter was bullied, so he became a security guard to fix the problem. Daniel does not give interviews. He does not make statements. He simply continues to work, unchanged. But the exposure has consequences. People begin to recognize him on the street. Students at the school begin to treat him differently. The gratitude becomes worship. The invisible man has become a celebrity and he hates it. You can see this in the way his jaw tightens. The way his eyes become harder. The way he spends less time at the school. Mia notices this. She finds him one afternoon in his office. A small room off the main hallway that he is almost never in anymore. "You're leaving," she says. It is not a question. Daniel looks up from the computer. He doesn't deny it. "My work here is done," he says. "The school has transformed. The policies are in place. You don't need me anymore." "That's not true," Mia says fiercely. "I do need you. The school needs you. You can't just leave because you became famous." Daniel stands. He walks to the window and looks out at the courtyard below. Students are walking together. Laughing. Living. "When I came here," he says, "I was a ghost. People saw through me. I was invisible. That invisibility allowed me to observe. To understand. To act without being watched or questioned. Now everyone knows who I am. And that changes everything. That changes how people interact with me. That ruins the purity of what we were trying to do." What if I don't want you to leave? Mia asks, and her voice is small. Daniel turns to look at her. For a moment his expression softens. But then it hardens again. You have your entire life ahead of you, he says. Stanford. Success. A future that has nothing to do with me. That is the goal. That is what matters. He walks past her toward the door. Be kind to the people around you, he says. Because you know what it feels like to be invisible. Never forget that feeling. Never be the person who walks past someone else in pain. And then he is gone. 2 weeks later, on the last day before winter break, Mia receives a letter. It is not from Daniel. It is from a lawyer representing Hayes Investment Group. The letter informs her that Daniel Hayes has made a decision. He is transferring ownership of his entire company, valued at over $3 billion, to a trust. And the beneficiary of this trust is Mia Chin. The letter explains that this is not a gift. This is a responsibility. The company employs 10,000 people. It has operations in 15 countries. It has influence in education, healthcare, and poverty alleviation. Daniel is stepping away from public life entirely. He is disappearing. And he is leaving everything to a 17-year-old girl who he barely knows. The letter ends with a handwritten note in his careful script. You asked me once why I became a security guard. The answer is that I needed to understand what was broken in the world so I could fix it. I fixed the school. But there is so much more to fix. The world is full of invisible people. Full of people being bullied, ignored, and abandoned. Now it is your turn to see them. Now it is your turn to be the guardian. Use what I have given you wisely. Or don't. The choice is yours. But know this, you were never invisible to me. You were the brightest light in that entire school. Become the light that others can follow. Mia sits in her bedroom holding this letter, and she understands that everything has changed again. She is no longer just a bullied student who was rescued. She is a billionaire. She is responsible for a company. She is responsible for thousands of lives. She is 17 years old, and she is standing at a crossroads that will define the rest of her life. She looks out her window at the city below. Somewhere out there, Daniel Hayes is gone. He has removed himself completely. And she will never see him again. Or will she? Mia makes a decision. She contacts the lawyer and tells him that she will accept the responsibility. She will go to Stanford. She will study business and philosophy and ethics. She will learn everything she needs to know to steward this company with integrity. But she also makes a choice that shocks everyone. She creates a program within Hayes Investment Group specifically designed to identify and protect invisible people. Students like her, workers like Daniel, people who society has decided don't matter. On her first day of college, Mia receives a package with no return address. Inside is a book, a leather-bound journal. On the first page, written in Daniel's careful script, is a single sentence. The question is not whether you have the power to change the world. The question is whether you will remember to see the invisible when you become visible. The rest of the journal is blank, waiting to be filled. Mia holds the journal and realizes that she still doesn't understand the full truth about Daniel Hayes. She doesn't know where he went. She doesn't know if he is truly gone or if he is simply watching again, invisible, waiting to see what she will do with the power he has given her. She doesn't know if his disappearance was an ending or a beginning. And most importantly, she doesn't know if he left because he trusted her. Or because he was running from something. Or someone. The question haunts her through her first semester of college. Is Daniel Hayes the hero of this story, or is he the one who is hiding the darkest secret of all? And as Mia begins to dig deeper into Hayes Investment Group, following paper trails and financial records, she discovers something that makes her blood run cold. There are gaps in Daniel's financial history. Years that don't add up. Money that moved in ways that don't make sense. Projects funded in countries with poor record-keeping. And documentation of adoptions. Dozens of them. Children brought from dangerous situations to safety. Was Daniel Hayes running from the law? Was he evading something? Or was he building something far more complex than anyone realized? Mia's fingers hover over her laptop keyboard. She has the power to find out the truth. He has the resources. He has the access. But she knows that once she starts pulling on this thread, everything might unravel. The narrative she believed, the story of a kind billionaire helping a bullied girl, might not be the complete picture. She closes the laptop. She holds Daniel's blank journal in her hands. And she makes a choice that will define everything that comes next. Or just the beginning.